3 collaborators were nabbed, and 35 assorted arms, including 1,051 ammunitions, were recovered. Furthermore, there were 29 abducted civilians that were rescued by the military. And in Niger State, the Commissioner for Information, who was adopted from his country home, has been released. There are speculations in Daily Trust that members of his family contributed and paid some ransom. Government in Niger State, particularly the governor, says he was not going to pay any ransom for the commissioner, especially that he cannot, that cannot satisfy his conscience when pupils of Tejina Islamic school that were abducted 2 months ago are still in captivity. The commissioner surprisingly says that Allah has promised to test people with challenges. He says he has forgiven those who kidnapped him. But he was also saying that while he was living, the kidnappers were apologizing, saying that they were contracted.
That is an aspect of it that is very dangerous.
Yes, they were contracted to kidnap him.
Exactly, and those who contracted the kidnappers are non-kidnappers, which means that some people are collaborating with kidnappers. If one could hire kidnappers from Zamfara to travel as far as Niger State to kidnap a commissioner, and the details of that was also saying that they told the kidnappers that the governor gives the commissioner 200 million naira on monthly basis, that they should collect 200 million naira or kill him. Right, but it's good news that the kidnappers repented, you know, and they did not do that. They've confessed and did not do that.
In fact, he said when he was departing, the kidnappers were weeping because they found out all the information they have been given was not true.
Well, that's really unfortunate. Bayo, we really thank you so much for, you know, this morning's insight into what the papers have.
Thank you.
Monday is going to be a new day for us and a new week.
May Allah spare our lives to Monday.
Amen. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. We'll now take your break. The program continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Dear compatriots, our country can be as great as we want.
Let us all commit ourselves to its greatness.
We must be willing to set aside our differences, unite and stay as one.
In our expansive landmass, human and material resources, and plurality lies our strength.
Let our challenges lead us to discover our common ground, and together, let's find solutions.
This will take some time, so it requires patience, tolerance, and forgiveness from every one of us.
Let all hands come on deck to protect and transform our country.
Let us unite and see each other, not as adversaries, but as brothers and sisters.
Together, we can build a better Nigeria for ourselves and for the next generations.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, with support from Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Arise, O Nigerians. Let's applaud the courage of Flight Lieutenant Abayomi Dairo, aka the Aggressor, for his skillful and dogged escape from the bloodthirsty bandits in the forest of Zamfara State. 3 hearty cheers also to all military and security personnel who are tirelessly protecting fellow Nigerians from insurgency and banditry while maintaining peace and order. Nigerians are proud of Abayomi Dairo and all our gallant men and women in uniform for sacrificing so much to keep us safe. We admire your courage and we say thank you. God bless the armed forces. God bless Nigeria. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Well, the housing solution we have developed is a multifaceted one. First, we have tried to lead a program to build what we think will be an acceptable and hopefully affordable housing type based on surveys we did in 2015-2016 and construction that started in 2017. And that's going on in 34 states as the National Housing Program.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The Blues will look to start the new season with a victory against former rival Patrick Vieira as he leads his London side Crystal Palace to Stamford Bridge. This Saturday, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Well, thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. And as a prompt for our conversation this morning, which is on a review of 2020 Tokyo Olympics, let's take this background report put together by Oyemi Ajayi.
The Olympic touch goes off, signifying end of the 2020 Olympic Games. The most unusual games ever was characterized by several talking points like absence of some big names, the emergence of new stars, absence of spectators, restriction of athletes to the games village, to mention a few. Nigeria had its share of controversies despite finishing with 2 medals, silver and bronze. Apart from the disqualification of 10 Nigerian athletes for failing to undergo required tests before the commencement of the Games and banning Blessing Okagbare, who tested positive to a banned substance, the viral video of Chukwuebuka Enekwechi washing his only jersey before the final of the shot put event was another low point of the Nigerian camp. The overall performance of the athletes was generally condemned, with many attributing it to the ill preparedness of the contingents, with some pointing accusing fingers at the sports ministry. What really could have been done differently, and who is to be blamed for all that went wrong in Tokyo? How best can Nigerian athletes be prepared to compete favorably with their contemporaries in the future? These are some of the questions begging for answers as we review Nigeria's outing at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
And joining us to discuss the topic, first let me introduce here in our studios Jacob Jeje Oyekale, a sports analyst. It's good to have you join us this morning on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, and from our Just Network Center, we have Abdurrahman Ibn Mohammed, sports consultant and former general manager, NTA Sports. Good morning and welcome.
Kieran, good morning. It's good to see you today.
And joining us via Zoom from Yenagoa, Bayelsa State Capital is Blessing Oboro-Dudu, Nigeria's first wrestling Olympics medalist. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here.
And still joining us via Zoom too from Benin City, Edo State, where is Ese Brume, Nigeria's Olympics women's long jump bronze medalist. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
And from Benin City, still via Zoom, I would like to introduce Yaya Kayode Noel, Ese Brume's coach. Good to have you on the program this morning, Yaya. Okay, now, gentlemen and ladies, let's look at Tokyo 2020. The jumps, the runs, the thrills, and all you could think of in games like this have come and gone. Kirian?
In fact, first of all, we would like to formally, on behalf of Good Morning Nigeria team, to congratulate these 2 ladies who did Nigeria proud, because without you, Nigeria would have, come back with nothing. So we are so glad that you performed very creditably to be able to bring back medals to Nigeria.
Oh, well, okay. Against the background, let's assess, let's appraise, and let's look at it. Let's hear from Jacob Jeje Oyekale, the sports analyst right here in the studio. Tokyo 2020.
Well, Tokyo 2020 was an unusual Olympics. As we know, the event was delayed for about a year, all thanks to the pandemic that ravaged the entire world. And against all odds, the host did everything possible to ensure that their investment did not go in vain, because well over $30 billion had been invested. And it's not really easy. They have prepared the accommodation, transportation, facility, and a whole lot of things have been invested. So they did all their best possible to ensure that it held. And the event proper, it was a huge success, highly competitive as usual, though no spectator. We have to begin to adopt the new normal all across the world, and every contingent from every country had to keep to themselves. Well over 200 countries are in attendance, and it's really huge. Africa had their own fair share of participation, and Nigeria as a country, we competed. We were represented by over 60 athletes, though the low point was that about 10 of them got disqualified because of the pre-tournament tests that were not properly done, not because they tested positive for banned substances. So I think we should get that. By and large, I think I said this before here, that Olympics is not about the game proper, but how much you have prepared for the Olympics. Then it gives you the breadth. There is this saying that the depth of your struggle determines the height of your success. It is what you have invested in preparing for the Olympics that now show at the Olympics proper, because you are there to compete against the best. So Tokyo 2020 is not an exception. The best of the best came to compete. That is the reason why before you even get to the Olympics, you need to really go through some qualification for you to get there. So for Nigeria to get to the Olympics in some of these events, it is commendable. And for some of the events we do not qualify, especially for boxing, I think we need to really do a thorough reassessment, because Nigeria got her first medal in the Olympics through boxing. And boxing over the years have been our strongest point, because from the days of Najim Maegu, David Izoreti, the Dokari brothers, and a couple of others, they've brought us medal from boxing. How did we not qualify for boxing is still a mirage. So these are things we need to really work on. And what led to our disqualification in the relay race too, I think these are things going forward we need to now reassess. And after all said and done, the proper thing to do after every major event is to come back, do a thorough inventory, and now what you call have a technical report, which will now give you a roadmap going forward for any other competition, because the technical report would tell you your strengths, your weakness, your what you are supposed to have done that you didn't do, and guides you how you prepare better. The last time I said I always hold on the 6P theory. Prior proper preparation prevent poor performance. So that caps it up.
That's very interesting. You know, after every major sporting activity, the global sporting activity, Nigeria normally goes, performs, returns, and will not necessarily take the issue of a technical report very seriously as to prepare for the next one. Now, the next Olympic is in 2024. So now it's time to prepare. That's what you're trying to say.
Definitely.
All right, let's bring in Abraham Ibn Mohammed, the sports consultant, and of course, former general manager of NTA Sports, who has also covered the Olympic Games in the past. So let's get your own assessment of 2020 unusual Olympic Games that we just had. What is your assessment of that game, and of course, Nigeria's participation at the different sporting events at that Olympic game?
Thank you very much, Kieran. Like my friend JJ Oyekale has stated, it was really a games of the unexpected, so to speak, because the pandemic that is still ravaging the world has affected, so many countries, and the IOC, International Olympic Committee, fearing for an outright cancellation of the games, went ahead, braved all the odds, along with their Japanese local organizing committee, in spite of vehement protestations from a section of the Japanese. They don't want the Olympics to come in because, of course, the pandemic everyone is afraid of. Even as the games went on, of course, pockets of protests came in here and there. But to the credit of the local organizing committee and the International Olympic Committee, everything eventually came off fine. What was being feared initially was that the absence of spectators might rob the games of its high performances. That turned out not to be true. I do remember that here on Good Morning Nigeria, we had prognosed that the absence of spectators would not necessarily impact negatively on the standard of performances. And I think eventually we were proven right. The 100 meters, that is the blue ribbon events of the athletics events, for both men and women came off very beautifully. In fact, bringing in unexpected heroes and expected heroines. The American-turned-Italian Jacobs surprised everybody by claiming a first-time gold, and the standard well below 10 seconds, very impressive. And of course, for the lady, the Jamaican Ellen Henry Thompson did what a lot of people could not have done. She defended both her 100 meters sprints and 200 meters sprints, and the standard again, very, very high. But let us discuss exactly what concerns us for Nigeria. We had expectations of somehow brilliant performances, and we were not really far off. But the bane of our participation has been what JJ Oyekale just stated in his, is it 5 Ps or 6 Ps? Prior preparation, prevents poor performance, something like that. Those who really worked hard, the elements went with them. A few of us, of our athletes, we are unlucky. The wrestler Unayo was very, very unlucky, just like the hodler. But for Ese Brume and Blessing Oboro Dudu, and I must say I am very pleased to share a platform with them. That reminds me of my days in the trenches covering sports. It is an honor to be with the women who have come together to put Nigeria's name on the medal table, giving us a first medal in wrestling. And of course, as a Brume, we know that from our exploits at the World Championships in Doha a year or two ago, we knew that she belongs there at the top. And with a little bit of luck, perhaps she could have even gotten a medal up there. But kudos to them. In terms of preparations, in terms of articulating our sporting policies, yes, this is where we really need to do the homework. Graciously, the sports minister, Chief Sunday Dare, has accepted to take the blame for practically everything that went wrong. He's been very gracious because he came in just about maybe 2 years or so ago when preparations for the Olympics ought to have started long before then. Like Oyekale has stated, usually since there is a four-yearly cycle, the preparations ought to have started immediately. But we seem to be used to, fire brigade measures in this country. The sporting associations, some of them have been at war with themselves, and you know, only the ones that have been in peace with themselves have managed to put us, you know, up there. Ese Brume should be taken as a singular person along with our coach. But the Athletics Association has been really in trouble. It is unfortunate that Blessing Okagbare, you know, was reported to have tested positive. But more importantly, those 10 athletes that, you know, were disqualified for, you know, not adhering to pre-competition testing. That responsibility falls squarely on the authorities running Nigerian athletics. And it is probably because they have been at war with themselves that they did not bother to take care of the fact that there are procedures to follow. One of the special assistants to the sports minister is an acclaimed world athlete, Mary Onyali. And an advice ought to have been given much, much earlier that out of competition tests for such and such period ought to have taken place. And that is unpardonable. And I think some people really need to be made to, you know, answer for this, because it was a national embarrassment. Some of the athletes, because for no fault of theirs, they were disqualified. You know, we are so vexed that they held protests outside there in Japan, bringing the name of the country into disrepute. Someone ought to be made to answer for this. But looking at the positives, Blessing Oboro Dudu, God bless Chief Daniel Igali, the Bayelsa State Commissioner for Sports, who incidentally doubles as the chairman of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation. Because there is peace, there is, you know, focus in the wrestling world, and Daniel Igali knows what he is doing. Someone who has been an Olympian, a gold medalist for Canada, deciding to come back home to make sure that he puts Nigeria's name up there. You can see the contribution of the Bayelsa state government there. You can see the expertise and the commitment of Daniel Igali. That is what has brought Blessing. Unfortunately for Odunayo, she got there. But I'm glad when she came back along with the team, I think a day or two, she was interviewed by NTA Sports, and I think she positively stated that she knows she's down, but she's not out. She's looking forward to the next Olympics. That is the way it should be. And I'm sure she's going to get the kind of support she needs from Chief Daniel Igali and co. But all in all, what I am saying is I am agreeing with Oyekale. We should do a post-mortem. An inquest should be done. Our sporting associations need to put their houses in order. But I must also commend the Basketball Federation under Musa Kida. It shows that they have been able to run themselves in such a way that they found funding to get practically all their players are foreign-based. How they got to fund their travels and their allowances, only God knows. How they got to hire Mike Brown, the famed American coach, who I am glad to say that I have heard he has agreed to go on coaching the team for the Afro Basketball Championships. That is the way it should be. Those who are there know their onions, and they don't necessarily have to wait for government. Yes, when the contingents are representing Nigeria, it ought to be sponsored by government. But the government has so much on its table that those who volunteer or seek to run our sports must, you know, have some things up there to be able to, you know, get sponsorship. They should be able to get the support and confidence of the private sector to come to their aid. Once this private sector does not have confidence in the people running a particular sport, sponsorship becomes a problem. You look at all national federations now. I understand, I think only the Handball Federation now has got a sponsor for the National Handball League. Football does not have, basketball does not have, and so on and so forth. So I think there must be an inquest, and slowly but gradually, I think Chief Sunday Dare's policies, we should not jettison them, because a former sports minister has gone. There's policy somersault and so on and so forth. We should have an enduring sports policy. And I'm glad that I think there is a sports policy in the works by this sports minister, such that the document remains in office. Even if Mr. X leaves the seat, you know, the policy, the goals, the set objectives are there. The next person who comes over will just look at the books, look at the documents, and try to build on what has been achieved before. Not to come and just rumble away everything and start afresh. That way, we are not going to make any progress. Let me stop here for now.
Thank you so much, Abdurrahman Ibn Muhammad. Thank you for that opening salvo. And let's go down to, you know, Benin City and hear from Yaya, you know, Kayode Noah. as S.A. Bruma's coach, and of course, as somebody who was there in Tokyo live, you saw it all. The information we just got from the two gentlemen here, Jacob J.J. Oyakali and Abdurrahman, information we really got from those who were not really there. But let's hear it now firsthand from you. Give us an assessment of Tokyo 2020 as somebody who was right there. When we look at, some strict restrictions like, the biosecure environment for athletes, the emptiness of the stadia, and the environment generally. What did you see? Hello?
Oh, can you say the question again, please?
Right. Put just simply. Let's have your assessment of Tokyo 2020 as somebody who was there live.
Okay, what would I say about Tokyo 2020 as someone there? Okay, yes. Well, it's a bit challenging, and then it's something that we least expected. A lot of things came up, and eventually it was also properly managed eventually at the end of the day. But I think things like that shouldn't have come up at all. It should be something that should have been, managed, rather be prepared for, and all the necessary steps that is needed to make the Olympics smooth should have been put in place. But somehow, because there were divisions in the federations, so informations were not properly passed and they were not properly managed, so that became very difficult for the federation to put things in place as regard the talking about the people who missed the out of competition test that were eventually disqualified. This AFN now, it's a new board. So many informations they don't have to put these things in place. But however, these things have been on ground. It has been something that is a norm that was passed to Nigeria some time ago. But one would have wondered why they didn't look into it and take it very serious.
Okay, we'll return to you further on the coaching aspect of the Olympic Games, because we know that you are primarily responsible for bringing S.A. Brume to the level which she was, to be able to have won a bronze medal. But let me start with Blessing Oborududu, who is a silver medalist. Blessing, let's share your own experience, as someone who participated in the Olympics for the very first time. How did it go, and how would you also assess the general performance of your fellow Nigerians who also participated in different sporting events at the Olympics?
Tokyo 2020 Olympics, despite pandemic, I think we did extremely well because it was better than last Olympics. We got silver and bronze medalists. And yeah, the Nigerian athletes have some challenges, but my focus was on how to get a medal. So I don't let that to disturb me.
All right, you didn't allow whatever shortcomings to disturb you during your performance. But now that you have won silver medal, how do you feel, and how would you also encourage other young Nigerians who may wish to, of course, participate in the future Olympics?
Yeah, I feel excited being the first, making history for myself and my family, also for my country. So I felt so excited. And my plan for upcoming wrestlers, although I have some plans for going back to my secondary school, I have something of catching them young, and also for my preparation for the Commonwealth Game next year.
Well, thank you so much. We'll get back to you much later in the course of the program. Let's hear now from, Ese Brume, Nigeria's Olympic swimming long jump bronze medalist. We've been trying to really establish and then really lay the background, see what really transpired in Tokyo, the just concluded Olympics where you came up with a bronze medal. Let's have your experience. Let's share your experience, and let's hear what you would say about the whole, fiesta itself. How did it go with you and, of course, your colleagues, Nigerians and some other athletes around the world? Seems as if we're having some hitches there, but we'll get back to them whenever we get things straightened out. Let's come back to the studio here and then hear from, JJ Oyekale. We've been trying to see how much and how far and how good we've been in this whole game. You, in your own opening salvo, you mentioned some, aspects where, the sports federation in Nigeria, the sports ministry, and indeed Nigerians should come in and then look at it, because after every other, game like this, there's going to be a postmortem of it, and then see why the wrongs are, and then make it right, why the goods are, we improve on them and consolidate on them. It's normal with games like this, and when we come back, we find things really not having to be very good indeed, given the fact that we went there with 60, athletes, and then we came back with only two medals. And that doesn't seem to go down well with Nigerians generally, because that should have been better, it should be better performance than this. I mean, are they really speaking the truth?
Well, honestly speaking, the expectation was high. Nigeria expected more, but to be objective, when you qualify for Olympics on its own, it's really commendable. But going to the Olympics, there is this saying that every Olympian or every representative go there and do their best. But getting to the Olympics, it is not enough for you to do your best, but to do what is required. And what is required is getting a podium finish. And that is what will leave your name on sands of time. Looking at it and having a thorough forensic analysis of those we actually took there, our medal hope should circle around maybe 6 or so. Mm-hmm. One of the strongest person that could not really get there was Odunayo, because in her category, she has been oscillating between 1 and 2. It was quite unfortunate, and somebody described it as an accident that happened, because she was actually leading her opponent. But by and large, we shouldn't be too disappointed, owing to the fact that our preparation was not really the very, very best. Because if we are preparing for Olympics, it is a 4-year cycle. But the sport minister over the last 1 year had ensured that everything must be done for us to participate in the Olympics, including ensuring that the National Sport Festival went ahead, because the minister sees sport as one of the avenue to really keep youth away from unrest and violence. So he ensured that the festival goes on so that we can participate in the Olympics. And looking at it, Olympics is about, for example, if you are competing in athletics, there is this targeted time. For example, if you are a man running the 100 meters, if you are not running sub 9 seconds, you shouldn't hope for a medal. And for women, if you are not running sub 10 seconds, don't hope for a medal. And if you are a shot putter, for example, and you cannot throw up to 20 meters, don't expect a medal. And that is the expectation. And that is the yardstick for you to put in every of the competition we are going to. So that was why I based my own analysis on maybe 6 medals. Odunayo, I have a faint hope in the basketballers because the way they improved, even their pre-tournament competition, they defeated the US, the almighty US team, and the caliber of players we took to the Olympics. You see Nigerian players, doing a 3-pointers from a very far distance and doing the dunking game. So with that, you are seeing them rubbing shoulder with the best. You understand? And again, the other person that we have hoped for, I've mentioned 3 now. Yeah. The other person is Blessing Okagbari. The form had been very, very massive. Very, very massive, along with Enoch Adegoke. So those are the 6 medals I had really drawn up as a person that if we had made that 6 medal, we should be very contented. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it, but we had 2. So, which is still commendable because it is better than our last 2 performances. You understand? So it is a very commendable one, even if it is not what we expected. It is not what is required, but they have done their best. And I want to even use this avenue to really congratulate both Blessing Oborodudu and Ese Brome. History will always remember them. That is because they have not only done themselves proud, but they've done the country proud. For Ese Brome in particular, after that youth games that she was discovered, I saw her as a prospect. And that was when I said, this girl will really go far. And she had not disappointed. So I think what Nigerians need to do now is, by the time we check what we have invested in this athlete, we will know that they have really done their best. For example, what is our reward system? There are countries that their reward system for a gold medalist is as high as $135,000 for gold medalist.
Singapore gives $737,000.
So what are we saying? And
even South Africa here.
You understand? So
$7,000.
What is our own reward system for a gold medalist? So you see what would be the motivating factor for this athlete to go out there and compete. So meaning that we need to really work, one, on our remuneration and the reward system of this athlete. It is really very, very important. We saw athletes of Nigerian descent making the podium finish for other countries. That is because they felt that their bread would be well buttered there. The pastures is greener there. So we should make it very, very attractive. And that is why we have been saying that sports is a big business and we need to go beyond recreation and entertainment and make it a big business. Because when you win medals, investors come and invest. And the reward system must be good for you to attract athletes because they should be able to, at this stage, when a country like a Bahrain and Nigeria call an athlete, some of them would not think twice because the reward system, they are getting there. But by the time the reward system is maybe a bit commendable here in Nigeria. Let's say, let us even be modest, maybe a $50,000 for a gold medal. I mean, heads will turn. You will see athletes coming to kill, coming to do everything possible, right?
All right, JJ, let's pause you because we are now through to S. Brume, who has not spoken to us this morning. S. Brume, let's share your experience at the Olympics. We know that there are shortcomings with respect to the unusual Olympics that we had, but people like you were able to break even and of course come back with a medal. What was your experience, as you competed with other athletes from around the world?
Well, it was an amazing one. Though at first it was kind of like hectic because some of our athletes couldn't compete because they weren't texted before the competition, the Olympics. So at first it was heartbreaking for each and every one of us, even till now, because some of them, who knows, might not even, they don't know where they might be in the next Olympics. So this would have been a real opportunity, a good opportunity for them, but they missed out on this Olympics. And, but still, we didn't let that affect us much. We still try to keep the course and try to put in our best, to make them proud as well. We winning the medal is not just for us, it's for both they themselves and also for our country, our families, and each and every one that has supported us. And super thankful. I'm happy that we were able to achieve that. We're able to get a medal, and each and every one, is happy that we got this. And I'm glad that God used us to put a smile on each and everyone's face.
Well, Esther, let's still hang on to you for a while and then get more. Put simply, what would you attribute your success to?
Sorry, can you come down the question?
What reasons or what factors really facilitated your successful, clinching of the medal at Tokyo? What really, helped you in getting what you got in Tokyo and making us proud? I'm proud.
Well, it's all God, I'll say, and with the support of my coach, I was able to make it to the medal table, and also with the support of my governor, Kowa, and the initiative which the minister took, that's the Adopt an Athlete thing. Though it came late, but it went a long way as well, and also though in the process I was injured, but my coach tried to take my focus away from the injury, and then I tried to keeping on trying to take each and every step of my training. Trying to take my training one step at a time, and also with the prayers of my families and those in support of me, I was able to make it this far. And thank God, and luckily for me, I was able to also get the record, the African record. It wasn't easy. That also encouraged me more, because having an injury in the middle of the season and then trying to get back to your feet to go to the Olympics, it wasn't an easy one. But my coach tried to train me mentally and physically, and I was able to attain good success at the Olympics, and I'm glad that I had him to support me all the way.
Well, indeed, you performed well. I can just recall, watching you, taking those long strides, to get to where you got to at the Olympics. Thank you very much indeed for doing Nigeria proud. Now, let's return to Abraham Ibn Mohammed. Sir, at your initial comment, you actually, encapsulated a lot of issues concerning sports development, in Nigeria, in that your statement. And I want also to go further with respect to sporting politics that you policies that you talked about. You said that presently the current minister is articulating sports policies that you believe will go a long way in ensuring that we get our acts together when it comes to sports preparations. Does it mean that Nigeria does not have existing sporting policy? You also talked about the issue concerning sporting associations being at loggerheads with each other and what have you. And all of these, you know, affect the performance of our athletes, especially at the big games like Olympics. How far will this new policy you talked about go in ensuring that we turn around, you know, the narrative of preparation for big-time sports like Olympics in this country?
Well, thank you very much, Kieran. What I spoke about the sports industry policy that is in the works that this minister has initiated, and I think work is far into that project, is the fact that really, if you do not have a policy, that means you don't have set goals and objectives. That means you are just jumping about the bush, waiting for events to come, and then usually we go for a jamboree. There has been this joke in some social media platforms that Nigeria sent 100 officials and only 60 athletes, which is of course not true. This used to be the practice in the past, where there will be official delegations from the states, from the federal government, at whatever event it is, be it the Olympics, be it the World Cup or AFCON. But of course, now reality has hit us in the face. This minister, at least under this administration, has seen to it that this fund spending spree has been cut to the barest minimum. Only 52 athletes officially were entered for by Nigeria. That's trying to be realistic. Apart from the analysis of 5 or 6 medals being expected, like Oyekale tried to explain, the others that were put into the teams, it is because the different federations and the ministry wanted them to gain experience, looking forward towards them getting experience so that we can build upon that for the next, maybe African Games, for the next Olympics, so that they can reach a point of maturity. Some bit of potential has been seen in them, and so that is why they have been in the team. In the past, Nigeria used to go with more than 100 strong contingent, and most of them just for the sake of it. Because if you look at it critically, the athlete performance bar should be indicative of where an athlete should be at a certain level. Look at the age of the athlete, look at the performance level of the athlete. All these are technical issues. But when you have a 30-year-old athlete who has not met the minimum level of qualification, you put him or her into a team because of patronage, that is surely just waste of funds. But be that as it may, the sports industry policy is aimed, I believe, at trying to ensure that there is something in the works. Anybody who comes at any given point in time will have a document to work with. And this document is supposed to be developmental in nature so that there will be progress. Not that if I leave office as sports minister and Yusuf comes in, he will jettison whatever I have and start all over. That means people will start building all over the time, building afresh, and you never see any particular project to fruition. Part of that sports industry policy, I believe, along with that sports industry policy, is this policy that the minister has brought in. S.A. Brume just spoke about that, adopt an athlete policy. This is in realization of the fact that everybody expects the federal government or the federal sports ministry to, carry the burden of Nigeria's representation at major sports events. And like I did say, it is common knowledge, the government has too much on its table. It needs to be assisted. This adopt an athlete policy is such that when a given potential is identified that can go far, an organization, a government organization, a wealthy individual will, take the burden of government for the training and touring expenses of that athlete, health needs and so on and so forth. Once that athlete knows that he or she can be catered for, can be taken to grade A competitions where he or she can get experience, and improve on his or her performance along with his or her coach, there will be a progression. And quite a number of athletes, like Brume herself, has been adopted by, I think, her state government, Governor Okowa and co. The same thing has been happening to Oboro Dudu and co. And quite a number of athletes like the young 100 meters runner, Divine, and Enoch Adegoke. These are things that we will eventually see the fruits in the next couple of years if they are, allowed to carry on, so that the government will be left to concentrate at a given point in time. When it is time to take the national flag to the Olympics, everybody knows that lands squarely on the government's shoulders. But in terms of training, and other things, along with the adopt an athlete policy, I would love for the ministry to, go back and look at what the late Isaac Akioye and co did in terms of sponsoring Nigerian athletes to go to school in the Americas, to go to school in the USA, to go to school in Australia, where the sports facilities, are there, the training facilities are there, so that improvements can be, measured. You do your academics.
Hold both volume keys for
you do your academics, improve, and you do your athletics or sports programs and improve. Along the line, this is where we had the likes of Davison Ezinwa developing, Olapade Adenikan developing, the likes of Hamid Adios developing. This used to be. Why can't we go back to that? If we are finding it difficult to upgrade sports facilities in our schools and so on and so forth. In fact, on one of our sports platforms here, I think the Sports Parliament, some time ago, we mourned the fact that these days, even schools, private schools are being allowed to come up without playgrounds. You have schools without playgrounds. Where would you get the youth to, develop? So all these are things that need to be mapped out and put down in black and white so that nobody veers off. Only if we do such that we will now start to look at a point that Oyekale and I think Yusuf brought about a reward system. We are trying to put the cart before the horse. If we do not prepare the athletes properly, there is no amount of reward system that will ginger them up. There is no amount of reward you are going to give an athlete who has failed to make a qualifying time. Even if you put $100,000 as reward for gold medal for an athlete who cannot run sub 10 seconds, for that person to go and win an Olympic medal, that is just not going to be possible. So we must do it one step at a time. And I keep saying, I'm not patronizing the sports minister, but if the policies and the goals and objectives that he's trying to enunciate are put on ground, this is what the Ministry for Youth and Sports is responsible for. Any minister who comes in can only maybe fine-tune, but the major goals are there so that we keep developing, and eventually whoever comes to get the glory, all of us will be the better for it. It's not going to be this minister's business, that minister's business. And again, the state sports councils come in now. A number of states, like Kwara, I think is the latest one, Lagos, Edo, they have sports commissions. These sports commissions are trying to be modeled after the old National Sports Commission, which I am glad I understand, issues are being put together so that it can be brought back at the national level. This is where core professionals are brought in, people who can manage sports, who have read sports, who have practiced sports, can come and manage and give the direction to the political office holders as what to do. Otherwise, when we just run the State Sports Council, for instance, the State Sports Council, as far as we are concerned, in some places, they are just there to provide employment like any other ministry would provide employment. Whether that athlete is advancing in his or her chosen sport to a greater height or not, that person will be there, salary will be there. But you see, in a sports-oriented environment, you need people, it's dynamic. When you age, you give way to youth. But in these days, whether you age or not, you are sitting down there until your retirement time comes. No, that's not the way it should be.
Many thanks, Abdurrahman Ibn Mohammed. Let's hear the views of Yaya Kayode Noel, and of course that of Blessing Oborodudu too. I'm talking about training here. We're looking forward. We're looking forward to a better outing next whenever we're going to go out on Olympics or any other sporting fest nationally or internationally. Let's hear from Yaya. The two athletes who brought, fame to Nigeria and medals to Nigeria, Blessing and then Eshe, were, really benefited from IOC's training grant, I believe. And they really made good use of that, which of course you can testify. And the two gentlemen here, JJ Oyekali and of course Abdurrahman Mohammed, are hammering on the fact that training is key and getting them very much prepared is very, very important for the athletes and of course moving forward. What would you say about training in Nigeria and how do we really improve on that in order to really clinch more medals whenever we go out?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I'm going to speak as a coach because the thing is, a lot of people don't understand what it takes to perform. It takes a lot, I mean a lot, to perform at high level. I'm talking.
Oh, it seems you've lost that. Let's hear from Blessing Obododudu.
We don't see people.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Can you hear me now? Okay, all right. So you don't see the kind of training these people take. You don't see the kind of facilities these people use. The kind of Medicare these people use. You don't see the kind of nutrition these people take. So it's easy to sit down and say, this athlete didn't bring medal, that athlete didn't bring medal. It is not so. If you want to beat more, you put him in the race. You want to get things done, you go get it done. You don't wish for it. These athletes who qualified for Olympics, they sweated tears and blood. It's a very
We've lost him again. We will get him back because he's making a great point here. We're discussing, or rather reviewing Tokyo 2020 Olympics, Nigeria's participation, and indeed how we fared. We got 2 medals there, and we've been talking to, those who bought these medals, and of course some sports analysts. We'll take a break now. It's Good Morning Nigeria. Stay with us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out exclusively with Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State.
Since assuming office, our rescue administration has pursued the path of peace and reconciliation and restored confidence among people of different ethnic, religious, and political persuasions. Peace is back on the plateau. We are building world-class infrastructure in roads and opening up opportunities for innovation.
The edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from entertainment, economy, sports, media, politics, family, and lots more. Pick up a copy and keep abreast with issues and trending features within our space. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
The Ministry of Works and Housing has the responsibility to help improve the quality and the quantity of the road infrastructure assets, which are the roads and the bridges and the highways. At the moment, we have over 13,000 kilometers of road network under repair, reconstruction, or rehabilitation out of the existing 35,000 kilometers of federal road network. These 13,000 kilometers are comprising about 850 different contracts which the ministry superintends across Nigeria. We are fulfilling the mandate of our ministry to expand the connectivity of Nigeria's states and by extension the towns and villages through road transport.
It's the dawn of a new era on NTA's flagship program, The Sports Parliament, revitalized with lots of varieties, including feedback responses from viewers. Sports Parliament, the weekly sports show that exposes all the intrigues in the Nigerian sports sector and projects an agenda on the way forward for Nigerian sports. On NTA every Thursday at 10:30 p.m., running for 1 whole hour, discussing sports. The parliamentarians are more committed than ever to enlighten the viewers as the Sports Parliament takes it to a whole new level on the floor of the House. Keep a date with the Sports Parliament as motions are moved every Thursday on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, with his gavel to harmonize sports resolutions. The House have it.
The Blues will look to start the new season with a victory against former rival Patrick Vieira as he leads his London side Crystal Palace to Stamford Bridge. This Saturday, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Yeah, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We are still doing some analysis on the just concluded Tokyo Olympics as it affects Nigeria. Now let's return to Yaya Kayode Noel. Kayode, you shortly before we went on break, you were talking about the importance of training and provision of essential facilities required to, of course, build quality athletes in Nigeria. Please go ahead.
Okay, so like I was saying, it takes a lot to prepare for Olympics, for a high octane meeting like the Olympics. It takes 4 years. It takes so many things to put together. Like I was mentioning, that's about facilities, the Medicare, the nutrition, and other, technology that we don't have. Personally, we have worked hard personally on our own. Most of the times we spend in the United States training and paying for all these facilities. These facilities are not free. You pay for them. You can imagine paying $1,400 for rent per month, and you've been there for 10 months. Talk about Uber, feeding, then medicals, and then internal travels for mini competitions to keep you.
We are still having hitches along the line of communication with Noel. Let's pause him for a while now and return to the studio. JJ, there's need to talk about this issue of disqualification, of athletes. The major aspect, the major one actually, is that of the lady whom everybody had hoped on for a gold medal, who was qualified hours before the 100 meters race. And of course the issue is that she had muscle enhancing substance, as the case may be. What should be the reason for this? Does it mean that she does not know that the substance she took has been banned, or that there's no supervisory rule of those in charge to understand what she takes? How come such a person of that caliber in sporting events be disqualified hours before she took the race?
I think the language was she was suspended, not that she was disqualified. And that is because what she was actually suspended for was it's an hormone that is being generated from the body. Mostly it is not because of what you take. Maybe some other things can actually trigger it, yes, but it is generated from the system. So which might not be completely a fault of hers anyway. It's just a natural occurrence like a circle of women that do come, but it's just quite unfortunate that maybe there are some things that trigger it. That is where we should be really taken care of, because since it is a body-generated hormone. So I think that boils down to, when we talk about sports generally, a lot of funding has to go with it. A nutritionist, a therapist, and a whole lot of the medical doctors that will carry out testing time after time. Then what you take that can now trigger the generation of such an hormone. That is because this is an athlete that have been competing the last 15 years. She has not been caught using any banned substances. So it is not at the twilight of her career that she will use a banned substance. It's just quite unfortunate that it occurred at a period whereby she stands a very, very, very good chance of making the podium. So that comes back to us as a country that aside the athlete we are presenting, for one athlete, you need a lot of staff to take care of them. The medical staff, that's when I talk about the nutritionists, and even the physician that will ensure they take their test regularly, what could be wrong, how to guide them. Just as Mr. Kayode said that when you are exposed to some of these modern facilities and training, before you even step out to do your training, it takes a lot of, units to, take care of an athlete. So, but in Nigeria, because of this, even some coaches are dropped. So it goes beyond a coach. You understand? It goes beyond a coach, and it's quite unfortunate. Even after such an occurrence, you need a psychologist to talk to this kind of athlete so that, such a thing can kill the morale and the spirit of the athlete. You still need a psychologist.
Because having passed through all the
Yes.
preparations and trainings and what have you. Sorry, Danabu, is it necessary to protest the action taken by the IOC on this matter, since it's a natural phenomenon? Because he said something may have triggered it. She didn't take any substance. That's what you have said.
Yes. Like, it was like said then that maybe she can call for another test so that she will be able to participate. But it takes a very long time for the test to come out, and they do a lot of analysis. And after that, it takes time. So even if she had protested then, it wouldn't meet up again for her to participate in that Olympics. But what we should have done as a country is that on our own, we need to do our own testing pre every tournament. Aside the Olympics or any tournament, there is a need for us to invest in this medical facility to ensure that we have our own domestic thorough testing and analysis.
And that brings us to the issue of the AIU, the Athletes Integrity Unit, which sort of banned 10 Nigerian athletes from participating. Banning 20 the world over, that is, and of course 10 come from Nigeria. And earlier you talked about medals expectation for the Olympics, our contingent, talking about 6. Had we not been banned, we might have gone a little bit further in trying to get more medals. Talk to us about the AIU and the banning of these 10 compatriots of ours, and what needs to be done, really, as we look ahead.
Well, it is quite unfortunate that we have 10 I mean, 10 is a very, very large number from our contingent that was banned. And I think there are a couple of reasons to this. One, it was stated earlier, the crisis in the AFN had to do a lot with this because the house was not in order. And, you know, in AFN, they have departments that takes care of every unit. And still on the medical, those athletes are based in America. And there is this procedure they need to take, and which is supposed to be followed religiously. You don't joke with such. I mean, we have been participating in Olympics since even before, I think 1957.
52,
53 or so.
Yeah.
We have been participating in Olympics. So it is a tradition that we know that before Olympics, this and this are supposed to be done. And after every review of the process and procedure, they intimate us, they communicate with our own Nigerian Olympic Committee. So we are supposed to do this. I mean, the test was supposed to be followed, their timing and everything, and they failed that timing, which is really, really, unacceptable at this stage.
Should part of the blame really go to the athletes themselves? Should part of the blame go to the athletes themselves, for not, adhering to such a high-tech, mistake, if you ask me, because of course they have been participating in sporting events and activities, and they know the rules and regulations guiding Olympic Games, for instance, testing before the event.
I think bulk of the blame should go to the administrators. That's because a bulk of them are participating for the very first time. A bulk of them from the US are participating for the very first time. But whether the athletes have been there 10 years or 20 years, the administrators have to do theirs. They are supposed to be the one to conduct the test for the athletes. And the report, they get the report and submit the report. So it is not the athlete themselves. I mean, the responsibility of the athlete is go there, train and compete. The administrators are the ones to know who to delegate, take the sample, go and test. The athlete cannot go and begin to test me. No, it's wrong. But it is the administrator. And in administration, you have this triangular structure, and that comes back to where we have some fault in this country. That's our sporting structure. The sport minister have been really doing his best, Chief Sunday Dare, to ensure that he put us in the sport in a proper structure. But a lot of things are awkward. They are wrong. Now, for example, whether the minister is there or not, or his tenure elapsed or not, the structure runs, and we know as a matter of policy, this follows after this. B is after A.
And C
is after. So that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, JJ Oyakale. Let's go back to, Blessing Oboro Dudu. We are almost rounding up this program, and we really need to hear from you. What are your dreams and targets moving forward? What do you really want to really achieve moving forward in subsequent games and festivals as they come?
Sorry, can you come back again with the question?
Okay, let me just come back to this side. Olympics is 4 years ahead from now. Are you aiming at gold? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, what's your target moving forward?
Yeah, like I said, I have some plans. Going back to my secondary school to catch some girls, catch them young, and also to prepare for next year Tokyo, next Olympic, next Commonwealth Games.
It's indeed a good idea to go back to your secondary school, and help the younger ones to grow like you have grown. Let's also hear from S.A. Brume. Going forward, what is your plan? Of course, there are other games ahead before the next Olympics.
Thank you. So I'm going back, to develop myself more, to work with my coach, to especially to work on the areas where I knew that I actually lacked before now, and also I'll be going to the states for to prepare for other competitions that will be coming up before the next Olympics, which is the Commonwealth Games and also the World Championship. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get support from other sectors like the private sectors and from the government as well, because it won't be easy for us it won't be easy for us supporting ourselves alone, to competitions. Before this Olympics, it wasn't easy for us, but thank God we were able to get the Adopt an Athlete thing, which was initiated by the minister, and it helped us a long way. And we're hoping that we'll be able to get sponsors as well to help us. I mean, to get them early enough, so we'll be able to, develop ourselves with those support, and hopefully by the grace of God we are able to perform better than what we've done now. And also we are looking forward we are hoping that what happened at the previous Olympics, this last Olympics, shouldn't happen next Olympics, because so many of the athletes were devastated because of the situation. And some of them might be frustrated to the extent that they may not even want to do the sports again. But if we're able to get support, each and every one of us are able to get support, from the government and also from private sectors, I think it will help go a long way to help these athletes, not just myself and Blessing, to help these athletes as well, to prepare for the next Olympics.
Well, many thanks, Esther Brume. Yeah, Kayode Noel, let's hear from you. What's your parting statement on this very issue of Olympics and sports in Nigeria?
Sorry,
Okay. Like as I was saying the other time, was just talking before the network went bad. It takes early commitment, early commitment, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And it's important that these steps are recognized. Every one step is important. It's like a puzzle. If one of the puzzle is missing, the picture will not be clear. And these are very sensitive matters, because sports is a means of taking the youth out of social vices. It even reduces the labor. In the United States, you have people who can sing, who can dance, who can do sport. It makes the labor market easy. Like people just graduate and they get a job. It's easy for those ones. But those who have ability and talent, the atmosphere provided for them has helped and nest them early enough, so they won't be bothering themselves. Majority of them don't even go to college. They just end up with the gift and talent that they have, because the environment has produced the atmosphere for them to optimize and maximize their potentials. Now, it's not the case here, you know. And it can be, it can be the case here if only we take these things very seriously. More so, it is important for us to also understand that this is also a means of foreign exchange. It brings funds to the country. I mean, you could imagine the stars in America and see how much funds that brings to the country in terms of endorsements and every other thing. So preparation and preparing these athletes is a huge
All right,
gain for the country.
Kaide, Noel, thank you very much indeed. You know, time is not on our side at the moment, so we are pausing you to return to Jos and get Abdulrahman Ibn Mohammed, of course, say his parting words with respect to sports development in Nigeria and, of course, competing in future Olympics and other competitions coming ahead. I would also like you to touch on the issue of involving the private sector in the sponsorship of Nigeria's performance in at different sporting festivals across the world. Briefly, please.
Thank you very much, Kieran. The coach, the two athletes, the Olympic medalists and JJ Oyekale have really tried to articulate what needs to be done for us to get satisfactory results at any given games, be it the Olympics or World Championships or Africa Games or Commonwealth Games. We should avoid fire brigade measure. You do not wish to get gold medals in 3 months and you pour out the millions of dollars and you think you can get it in those 3 months. You've got to space it. The athletes need to be trained. The coach and the athletes have tried to tell us that it takes time. Their nutrition, their health, their mental being, their psychological being, all these things need to be taken care of. We know that at the Olympics, we've had 1 or 2 top-notch athletes, Simone Biles, the gymnast from the USA, the tennis player from Japan, Naomi Osaka, getting out of games because they said they want to take care of their mental being. Psychologists have been provided for them by their sponsors, by their governments, because if you do not have a clear mindset, a clear brain, nobody can concentrate. So these athletes need all the support that they can, and it takes time. The sports, the adopt an athlete policy by the minister should be pursued further so that it can be spaced over time. There is 3 more years now to the next Olympics. The Commonwealth Games are coming before then. Probably the Africa Games or World Championships will come before then. We don't go back to sleep now. We don't just rest on our hours. The potentials that have been discovered, those that have the potentials to work, those athletes that were unfairly disqualified for no fault of theirs, the authorities should work on them. Those of them with the potentials, the plan of action should continue. If we cannot do it here, obviously we do not have the facilities. Those of them that are in the US, who are in school in the US or they are in Australia, adequate support should be given to them. And not only them, their coaches should be taken care of, because if an athlete is left on his or her own, that athlete could go and take something that could result into, when a test is taken, we get a result that we do not want, like the case of Blessing Okagbare. So it should be taken in a whole. We have the potentials, they have been identified, the support should be given to them. And lastly, for the private sector to come to the aid of Nigerian sports, I think the government should try to articulate a policy alongside the sports industry policy, whereby leading private companies should come to the aid of Nigerian sports. We see that, for instance, if we take the case of South Africa, their cricket team, their national cricket team, their national rugby team, they enjoy sponsorship of the highest order from corporate organizations that are South African based. We have leading corporate organizations here that are making use of our population. We have the population, and that's why they are here. They are making money, they are making profits out of our people. They should try to pay back some of that through sponsorship. But like
all right. All right, the program is getting more interesting now that we are rounding off the show for today. Abdulrahman Ibn Mohammed, sports consultant and former GM NTA Sports, thank you indeed for your insight into this conversation. All right. And Jacob Jeje Oyekale, sports analyst, we are indeed glad you are here this morning. We thank you indeed for your contribution. Now, Blessing Oborodudu,
thank you very much.
Nigeria's first wrestling Olympic medalist, thank you indeed. And once again, congratulations. Ese Brume, Nigeria's Olympic women's long jump bronze medalist, we also appreciate you and congratulate you once again for doing Nigeria proud. Thank you indeed. Yaya Kayode Noel, Ese Brume's coach, thank you for your coaching job. But of course, your advice will be taken by the relevant authorities with respect to coaching of athletes in Nigeria. Thank you all for being part of our show this morning. It's been wonderful.
Well, thank you so very much. I miss you. See you on Monday.